So, the universe. It's big, yeah? It has anything and everything you can possibly imagine, including imagination itself, which look at that. It's big and fat and juicy and full of stuff and anti-stuff because it's actually mostly empty. Although we're part of it, it's been way before we ever were and will continue to be long after we ever will be. It contains everything we've ever known and, more importantly, everything we don't and probably never will. For most, if not the whole of human history, we've been trying to, I don't know when, we've been trying to understand it, to make sense of it. There's just so much to consider. Anywhere you look, anything you look at, there's unfathomable depth and nuance down to the very quantum fabric of reality itself. A blade of grass, a droplet of water, a grain of sand, the wings of a butterfly, the tip of your finger, the particles locked away in that empty jar that you forgot at the back of that cabinet 6 months ago. Light, sound, vegan chocolate chip cookies. Every single particle is in constant motion, interacting with the next, converging, reacting, colliding, contracting, boiling, pulsing, rippling, bonding, decaying, and collapsing. Sounds like a nursery rhyme. Transferring and transforming energy in an ever-flowing, ever-evolving entropic dance from the micro to the macro. Now, in order to be somewhat functional, we humans have evolved certain features or traits with which we attempt to generate a certain understanding of our surroundings and the relationship to us, to try to navigate the world and know how to respond or what to expect, to judge effectively. So we parse, categorize, and shove the universe into boxes. You know, boxes can have different shapes, okay? We name the world, we name things and people, ideas and concepts, and we package them all into symbols, which in turn represent other symbols within symbols within symbols within blah blah blah. Kind of like a matryoshka or a .zip file. Needless to say, this is extraordinarily practical because, you know, we can talk about the same things with other human peoples and do stuff together. It allows for communication and collaboration and progress, if that's what you call this. So we can talk about mechanics and cheesecake, cars and bugambilias, blue and yellow, coffee and sound. We can talk about politics, love, jealousy, poetry, art, music, atoms, potatoes. By naming the world, we divide it up and make it easier to digest. However, by the same token, we also create the illusion of things being separate, when life is more like a gradient. But we have this weird obsession with trying to find solid lines and define borders. Don't know why. See, we love conclusions because it makes a whole existing thing more manageable. The only thing is, well, there's a bit more to reality than what can actually fit into our conceptual boxes. When we're born, everything is so new. We're this throbbing consciousness coming into being for the first time, taking everything in. Infinite, insatiable curiosity, unsullied by previous concepts or knowledge or opinions or memories. I mean, the molecules that make up the incredibly complex and beautiful orchestra that is your body have this inherent ancient memory or intelligence, sometimes referred to as DNA. But in terms of conceptual knowledge, nada. It's all just this unbounded, chaotic symphony of sensual stimulation and uninhibited experience. As we grow and become acquainted with the world, we begin to accumulate. Besides mass, we accumulate experience, knowledge, memories, a sense of self, a limited identity, beliefs, opinions, etc. Slowly but surely, our minds get conditioned as we quietly become satisfied with our conclusions. So much so that we forget that we don't really know anything. And unfortunately, what is popularly considered to be education seeks to instill ready-made answers, effectively dampening our curiosity. It's as if someone already chewed the food for you and then you have to eat it. Ew. And then you have to regurgitate it in the form of quizzes and exams. I don't know if the metaphor can be extended that far, but you get the point. A simple way to see how it is that we only have access to a partial picture and not the full thing is in realizing that any and all information that we acquire comes through our limited senses and is processed by our limited capabilities. Can you see radio waves? Can you see the internet? You can? Tell me more. Not to mention that everything gets interpreted by, tangled with, and steeped in our gooey, sticky biases, creating a constant, ever-thickening filter through which reality has to sift through. Now, it's somewhat inevitable and completely natural to have expectations about something or someone, to have a certain understanding or attempt at it. The important thing to remember is that it is just that. It's an attempt. It's a limited conception, a mere interpretation, and not the entire reality. However, this is a fact that we all too often and way too easily forget. The moment that we conclude or are satisfied with our understanding of something or someone, we immediately and effectively shut ourselves off from all other possibilities and from the rest of the profundity of reality. And why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? I mean, you can't expect to learn, understand, or get to know anything new or further if you've already made up your mind. In general, trying to understand the universe, reality, existence, life through the intellect alone is pretty daft, because it goes well beyond it. I mean, it eventually generated thought, but that's such a tiny sliver of it. I like the word sliver. Knowledge, concepts, thoughts, intellect, these are fairly new additions in the massive expanse of molecular evolution. They're kind of like the cherry on top of the Darwinian pie, which is to say that we can, in effect, comprehend or get to know other aspects of reality, of existence, of life, outside of the realm of the intellect or conceptual perception. Something more along the lines of this. That's what Alan Watts does. It's cool. So yeah, being in a state of constant, uninhibited, uncontaminated awareness, a state of pure being, turns out to be rather challenging to achieve. Not impossible, but very challenging. There are methods that help increase this type of awareness, not limited to certain meditation practices, breathing exercises, certain substances, obtaining a truth tortoise and gawking into its eyes, amongst others. But generally speaking, it's not such an easy task to keep this sort of awareness or state for extended periods of time. However, it's something which I find imperative that we strive for. In the meantime, a good step forward is to at least become aware of the fact that we aren't aware, that we aren't getting the full picture, that our understanding of things and people is limited, that life and the universe are inconceivably vast and deep, and that each human being is as extraordinarily rare and complex as ourselves. So, if we wish to open the doors to the cosmos, to the infinite possibilities life has to offer, we must keep our minds hungry and inquisitive, constantly searching, flexible, and receptive. The whole basis for both scientific and personal discovery is to be open to new possibilities by understanding and accepting that we don't know enough. So in conclusion, stay away from conclusions.